for our discussion on packaging trends in the wine and spirits industry. My name is Adam, Business Development Manager for UPM Raflatac in the Americas region. I'll be your host for today's panel discussion, and I would like to take a moment and have our distinguished panelists introduce themselves. And speaking of distinguished, we'll start with my good friend and colleague, Stefano Pistoni. Stefano?
Adam, I think we cannot hear you very well. There was a very strong background noise. Can you do your introduction? Speak louder, I think.
I can hear can you hear me okay now?
Yes. Yes, try again.
So Natasha says she can't. She can't.
No, it still seemed quite quiet to me.
Okay. Let's see.
You were able to listen, Natasha?
Pardon?
You were able to listen properly?
Yeah, I can hear you very loudly and clearly. I just can't really hear them very well.
Can anyone hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So hello and welcome. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but thank you for joining us today for our panel discussion on packaging trends in the wine and spirits industry. My name is Adam Moffett, Business Development Manager for UPM Raflatac in the Americas region. I will be your host for today's panel discussion. So I would like to take a moment and have our panelists introduce themselves. So Stefano, if you would, please go ahead and begin.
Okay, thank you very much, Adam, and hello, everybody. I am Stefano Pistoni, and I am the Business Development Manager for Wine and Spirit at UPM Raflatac for the EMEA region. I collaborate with Adam. And what can I say about my job? I always say that I'm a privileged spectator of the wine and design industry. So I'm very happy to be in this community.
Thank you, Stefano. Natasha, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Natasha. I'm a Creative Strategy Director at Butterfly Cannon. So we're a brand design agency that specializes in aspirational brands. That's kind of more premium brands that people want to pay more for. And a lot of that, probably about 70% of that is wines and spirits. So yeah, it's great to be part of this chat today.
Excellent. Thank you for coming. And last but not least, Mikko.
Hi, everybody. Pleasure to be here. I'm Mikko Koskinen, one of the 5 co-founders of Kyrö Distillery company. I used to take care of product packaging and all of that, and now I'm doing a little bit more on the go-to-market side things and taking this call from Berlin, Germany. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for your participation today. So we have 3 topics in a relatively short time period, so I think we should go ahead and begin. Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. So sustainability is an ever-evolving topic, especially in the packaging industry. We've seen enhanced recycling, innovative labels, and every major brand really focusing on a sustainable push. So Stefano, I will start with you. How do you see the role of sustainability in wine and spirits packaging?
Okay. I think that the role of sustainability in packaging is strictly depending on another element, which is a design. Sustainability starts with the choices made by the designers when they are in their creative process. And they need to have the knowledge and the competence to make the right choices. Okay. So we think that the collaboration is fundamental in this phase. And this is what we do. We educate, we support them, and we really love to support them side by side during this part of the journey. And we think it's very important, the collaboration, because we think we can provide all the relevant information, the credential, the support like LCA analysis, product comparison, and whatever is needed to make the proper communication, to communicate in a proper way to the brand and to the consumer, avoiding greenwashing. And then another element that I think is really important and go together with sustainability is that I think it is important that the brand owner is committed to communicate with transparency to the consumer. Therefore, if there is transparency from the governance or from the brand, and there is competence by the designing agencies or by the designer during the creative process of the packaging. If we have these two conditions, I do believe that sustainability enriches the packaging, adding more value to it.
Agreed. Absolutely. Natasha, extending you the same question, what do you see the role of sustainability in wine and spirits packaging?
Yeah, well, the role of sustainability, as Tanya said, just goes throughout the whole process from beginning to end. So quite often we might get clients saying, oh, how do you make the packaging more sustainable? But it's actually just the whole process from where the products are sourced, the product's made, and then what happens afterwards with the packaging and the product as well. So for us, actually, we find that quite a lot of brands and companies are overwhelmed by the amount of choices and ways and how to be sustainable. And actually, quite often, they end up doing nothing or doing something like just putting a message on a pack, this is recyclable. And they don't even know if it's the right thing or whether it's the right thing for consumers, for the planet, for their brand. So one of the things that we do is we have this conscious design process, which is about helping people prioritize and create a roadmap for sustainability that works for their business, what their business objectives are, what resources they have available to them in terms of time, money, what's right for the product, because some products, have a short shelf life and it's not the same as something that can have a longer shelf life. And also, what's right for the consumer, what's right legally. So we help them navigate these and prioritize the different aspects so they can start on the journey straight away and then create a roadmap for the future, because it is so huge and it touches every aspect.
Absolutely. Sometimes it can get very convoluted when you're starting to think of, cradle to grave options for just your package, and you can, decide which way you're going to go 15 different ways. So it's good to have a tool that helps you design exactly which way you want to go, set your declaration, and move forward. So, I can appreciate that extremely. So, Mikko, we have the same question to you. How do you see the role of sustainability in wine and spirits packaging?
Well, I think taking a look holistically and starting from consumers' end, I think pandemic has shown to us all that, especially when it comes to like ordering stuff at home, there's huge amounts of things that are arriving to your home and you need to recycle those. So that's definitely a trend that is going to continue. There's going to be more online sales of spirits, and I think that's going to be sort of like form is going to follow the function, and if the function is how do we get spirits to people's homes via mail or courier, the packaging will follow, and it might be bigger impact to sort of get rid of the secondary packaging than the actual sort of like first packaging of the container. So that's sort of on the like reduce side. And in Berlin, we're going to experiment a courier system where people could buy stuff from our homepage, and they would get the spirits in 3 hours with no additional packaging. So you would basically be handed the bottle in hand. Wow. And I think that is sort of like as sustainable as it gets. Then on the reuse side, we already see that there's in beer industry, there's kegs and reusable containers. So that might actually come to spirits. I visited BIG, Breakthrough Innovation Group, in Paris, and they were developing a let's say almost like a printer cocktail making machine, where you would refill those parts in the machine, and that would transform the whole sort of way we do packaging in spirits industry, because the function will change quite drastically. And then lastly, making sure that everything is recyclable, especially when we're using like shrink wraps and stuff like that, like making sure that they can be removed, and consumers are conscious about how they recycle is going to have an impact on whether that recycling actually happens on the other end. So that's my 2 cents.
Excellent. Perfect. Before we move to the next topic, does anybody have anything that they missed or would like to say? Everybody did a great job.
Oh,
so listen.
One
go ahead.
One more thing. Yes. So what we notice is that like it all starts at from the consumer's end. And one thing that consumers consider premium is weight. And weight quite often means more glass. More glass means that there's going to be more CO2 emissions and so forth. So we need to work together with both design, marketing, communications, and all of that to sort of reduce the amount of packaging while maintaining that premium feel and consumers' willingness to pay that premium. And that's going to be really interesting task to tackle. And that's something that we're also going to do in the near future, sort of like taking glass away and seeing how we can do as much impact with as little resources as possible.
Actually, on that point as well, that's something that we, because of our specials and aspirational brands, that's one of the main things. How do you still look and feel premium and expensive whilst being sustainable? So looking at all the different foils, and again, weight of glass is one of the big ones. But then that's when you can like start to incorporate that reuse and stuff like that as well. Just so if you are going to use heavier materials, that they are around for longer and they can be reused and repurposed in other ways.
Yes, but I also think, if I can add, my last comment is that what Mikko said about the premiumness and the sustainability of the material is something where we as packaging producer have worked a lot. So now you can have a much broader choice of materials, paper or cardboard or closure, for instance, that can really have a good combination between the premium touch and feel and the environmental credential. So now there is a much broader choice compared to only 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah. In the Americas region, we're seeing the same thing. So wine has been a traditional legacy look, a lot of the same with spirits and beverage, but they're looking about a way to be more sustainable. And for us, you know, you can start with the label. You have options out there where you can be more sustainable from the label side and just grow from that. And that's what we've seen, you know, as a great first step into your program, is just saying, okay, let's start with the label and see what happens. Then we can worry about, you know, the container itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So on to the next question. So with new media platforms and global accessibility, interactions with new personalities are ever changing. So brands, old and new alike, are adopting their marketing to fit these new norms. Some choose to focus on new customer adoption and others to their loyal fan base. So I would like to know from your own perspectives, and we'll start with Mikko, what is needed to give personality to a brand?
Well, first of all, having a personality helps. So being a founder of a company, like we're still in the sort of early stages of business where like there's still, let's say, some processes to be put in place. And that, of course, leaves a little bit more room to show the personality. And being a founder also gives a little bit more weight to do risky choices. And personality really comes from the risky choices, but they need to have grounds, like just like doing things because for the sake of doing things doesn't make sense. And the way that we have tackled this is we gained a consumer insight that a lot of people are sort of, they expect like premium look and feel from the premium spirits, but they're also intimidated of those same looks. So like back bar might look like a complete wall of nonsense and you don't know what to do. Or if you go to a store, it's really hard to see like what is actually quality spirit and what not. And that sort of like anxiety of premium or fine spirits is something that we wanted to tackle, but while remaining that sleek design that we have. And I think we have a video that I would show. If there's any kids watching, maybe it's time to. Well, you shouldn't be watching, kids. You shouldn't be watching because we are overall talking about spirits. So let's
co-founder with these friends of Kyrö Distillery, Finland. That's right, Finland, the country that invented sauna. And in this one, we had a dream of making whiskey, gin, and other spirits out of Finnish rye. Why rye? Because Finland is covered in rye. Other than some forests, lakes, and Helsinki, there's nothing but rye. And because it's always dark, the weather sucks, and the soil is shit, Finnish rye grows under the harshest conditions. So it's tough. Not tough guy tough. I mean, Finnish farmer tough. And tough rye means more flavor and more character for our spirits. And you can taste this in our Kyrö gin, which we distill on one very special day that we Finns like to call the summer. With birch leaves, siivaktoon, cranberries. It's Finnish summer in a bottle, and it's good. Actually, it's so good that some friendly chaps in London named it the best gin or gin and tonic in the world. So please, show some respect. Keep your cucumber out of this gin. We're northern folk. We like things simple and good, minus the bullshit. And that's how we approach our Kyrö malt rye whiskey. We use Finnish rye, the best of Scottish and American whiskey making traditions, to make a whiskey that is simply unlike anything that you've tasted before. It's rich and sophisticated, so you don't have to be. And as we have only 1 hour of light, we use the other 23 in sauna, coming up with crazy ideas such as women's right to vote, free education, Molotov cocktails, and of course, Kyrö dark gin. Aged in oak barrels, it's a gin for when the weather sucks. Enjoy it with cloudy apple juice, hot or cold, or however your gin identifies. And if that sounds good, you'll love Kyrö dairy cream. Made with our malt rye whiskey and 100% fresh cream from Finnish cows. Enjoy it on the rocks with a splash of cold brew. It's lactose and gluten-free. This ain't your grandma's liqueur. This is hipster milk. Finland is cold and dark. We have an unspeakable language. The most death metal bands in the world. Wife-carrying competitions and swamp football. Finland. I'm Mikko, co-founder with these friends of Kyrö Distillery, Finland. That's right, Finland, the country that invented sauna. And in this one, we had a dream. A dream of making whiskey, gin, and other spirits out of Finnish rye. Why rye? Because Finland is covered in rye. Other than some forests, lakes, and Helsinki, there's nothing but rye. And because it's always dark, the weather sucks, and the soil is shit, Finnish rye grows under the harshest conditions. So it's tough. Not tough guy tough. I mean, Finnish farmer tough. And tough rye means more flavor and more character for our spirits. And you can taste this in our Kyrö gin, which we distill on one very special day that we Finns like to call the summer. With birch leaves, siivaktoon, cranberries. It's Finnish summer in a bottle, and it's good. Actually, it's so good that some friendly chaps in London named it the best gin or gin and tonic in the world. So please, show some respect. Keep your cucumber out of this gin. We're northern folk. We like things simple and good, minus the bullshit. And that's how we approach our Kyrö malt rye whiskey. We use Finnish rye, the best of Scottish and American whiskey making traditions, to make a whiskey that is simply unlike anything that you've tasted before. It's rich and sophisticated, so you don't have to. And as we have only 1 hour of light, we use the other 23 in sauna, coming up with crazy ideas such as women's right to vote, free education, Molotov cocktails, and of course, Kyrö dark gin. Aged in oak barrels, it's a gin for when the weather sucks. Enjoy it with cloudy apple juice, hot or cold, or however your gin identifies. And if that sounds good, you'll love Kyrö dairy cream. Made with our malt rye whiskey and 100% fresh cream from Finnish cows. Enjoy it on the rocks with a splash of cold brew. It's lactose and gluten-free. This ain't your grandma's liqueur. This is hipster milk. Finland is cold and dark. We have an unspeakable language. The most death metal bands in the world. Wife-carrying competitions and swamp football. Finland can be tough, but we are not the happiest people on the planet for no reason. Keep this.
So I know we had a couple technical difficulties, but I hope everybody got to see it. If you didn't get a chance to see that video, please go to YouTube and see it. I know everybody said hide the kids, but my kids love that commercial. But maybe it's because I work for a Finnish company. But I mean, it's hilarious. So speaking of giving personality to a brand, I don't think you could have done any better. So in my opinion, that's one of the best commercials out there. So please go to YouTube and Google it. All right, so let's move on if we can and pull it back together because we got about 10 minutes left. So let's go to Stefano. What do you think is needed to give personality to a brand?
But anyway, I think that Mikko is a great example of an entrepreneur who has transferred his personality to the brand. So I think there is not much to say. And let's say, as I said, I'm a spectator, so probably I don't have the right recipe, how to transfer the personality. But what I think it is important, even before the personality of the brand, is how to make a brand relevant enough to gain the attention of the audience, the attention of the market. And I would like to use a quote from the Chief Designer Officer of PepsiCo, Mauro Porcini, because he said that today, thanks to the fact that the access to the market is open to everybody, thanks to the digital world, you need to be relevant enough to get the attention of the consumer. And to get the attention, you have to do something that is really exceptional. And that's why Mauro said that this is the age of excellence. And therefore, thanks to the excellence of the product, the excellence of the communication, the excellence of the packaging, there are brands that can really emerge among the others. And I think this is a challenging time, a very inspiring time that we are living. And I think Mikko is a perfect interpreter of this scene today. So, and how it is doing, we have already heard that the way he's speaking, it's very open, it's very transparent, and this is what the consumer wants today. So I think this is a very interesting element of the whole story.
Absolutely. So, Natasha, I'm sure you've seen a few, personalities and brands over your time.
Yeah, well, it's hard to beat that one, isn't it? But,
Impossible.
I guess working in an agency, it's not often that you come across people with such a personality and vision like that you can you just bring to life. Sometimes we work with brands and they don't feel they have a personality or any story, and we go, okay, our mantra is beautiful for branding is stories beautifully told. So it's about finding out what the story is behind the brand and then telling that in your language, in the way you look, in your experiences. But it really starts with finding out what your unique and distinctive story is. And it can be the founder. If the founder is interesting enough or passionate enough, or then we can make the story all around that. Like we've done that with a brand called Chevet. And their whole brand was about, their whole ethos was about community. And they felt they were all a tribe of people making these beers and spirits. And it was really important to them. And community is very important in Israel as well. So it was about how did we get across the personality of this tribe of people. So each of the products that we created for them, they created the products, but the packaging and the brands for each one was all about, each one had its own character and it was named after one of the people within the distillery and it had its own character around it. So it's just always about finding out what that story is and making sure you bring it to life. And then that was the packaging, but then in the experiences as well we created like the icon was a lot of people on a bike. So not a tandem, but like 5 people on a bike. So it's all of everything is all about like creating the story around community and having a distinctive personality.
Absolutely.
But if someone came like Mikko and said, yeah, create a brand for us, that would almost be easy.
Right. Exactly. Honesty and transparency for every brand, from what I see, is what we're pushing towards, and just authenticity.
I would say authenticity is really important because you don't want to make it up. You have to just work really hard to find the authentic story. And there always is one. There's someone there, reason why they're making it. And if there isn't one, they're just making it for money, then probably don't really want to, no one's going to want
right
these days to get involved in it or buy it.
Exactly. So we've got about 4 minutes left. So we'll try to wrap this up as quickly as we can. So on to our last question for today. So in today's fast-paced society, we're always seemingly preparing for, what's next or how to set ourselves apart, So for each one of you, we've kind of alluded to this already. What will be the focus of future innovation in the wine and spirits industry? And Natasha, we will start with you.
Okay. Well, I'll just focus on one area. For us, what I'm seeing a lot of is just positive impact. And I don't just mean in terms of sustainability. It's like people are looking for much more from the brands they buy, and that is including in wines and spirits as well. So it's the product. A great product isn't enough anymore. It is your approach to sustainability, but it's also about your bigger purpose and what else you do, and what else you do for the community. What else do you do for me? And that can be in terms of health and well-being as well. So this whole positive impact. People want things that have a positive impact on the planet, on people, and on themselves. And that's why we're also seeing all those trends in health and well-being in wines and spirits, from low and no ABV, but also we're seeing lots of ingredients like CBD, adaptogens, all these kind of added ingredients to kind of balance the alcohol, I guess. People they still want to drink, but how do I make the whole experience better for the world, better for people, and better for myself as well?
Perfect. Mikko, on to you.
I think that there's a couple of innovations. One is, of course, we need to blend digital and physical world and create that link as easy as possible. And the pandemic has helped because now everybody knows how to use QR codes. So I think that's going to, something as simple as that is going to become as part of the packaging. But there also needs to be some value that you add by following it, because for some reason people still think that by putting a QR code, that's something that people would automatically want to do. No, that's a vessel to get somewhere. And we're going to integrate that in ours. We're going to have a, let's say, quite democratic way of collecting taste data. So anybody who's going to buy a bottle will be able to access an app where they can record how they experience the spirit, and they'll see how the rest of the world has experienced the spirits as well. So let's say data integration of physical and digital.
Amazing. Perfect. Stefano, wrap us up.
Yep, I totally agree with our friend, the speaker today in the panel. What I have perceived is that more and more in the coming year, there will be new subcategories that will maybe create more confusion in terms of type of beverage, types of drinks. But these new subcategories, like for instance, the hard seltzer, that are so popular in the US now, are new products that are, let's say, meeting the expectation of the new consumer, of the new generation. So I think there will be many new products, and I think also the wine categories will be affected with this new generation of products. And my feeling is that also in terms of packaging, in terms of containers, I expect there will be an expansion of the offer of the alternative wave of packing the beverages. And like Mikko said, I do believe that the Internet of Packaging, what we call in Raflatac with our Rafmore division, IOP, will be more and more integrated into the packaging, and will offer to the consumer a much more engaging and playful experience. So the stories that the brand would like to tell to the consumer will go through a different medium with a completely deeper experience. So I do believe in integration of the IOP with the packaging, and probably what we experienced with the pandemic, the speed up of the digitalization maybe will even accelerate this process.
I tend to agree with you. I think, everything's going to speed up, right? And that's to market, that's to consumer, that's to everything. So being prepared for that digitalization of an industry that's been traditional will be extremely important. But I mean, overall,
I think, Adam, that it is obvious that everybody in these 4 days has spoken about digitalization and transparency, etc. But then this is a new media, and you need also new competences, and the designers have, let's say, other opportunities, and the brand have other opportunities to communicate with their clients.
Exactly. That's the exciting part of it, is that innovation never stops, and you can always, get better, right? Well, I think we're going to wrap up today. We've got some great questions that have come in, and I would love to answer all of them. But I just want to thank you all for your input and time today. Mikko and Natasha, I wish you both all the success that you can handle. And if you guys in the audience would like to further the conversation with Stefano and myself, all those burning questions that were coming in, please stop by our virtual booth in Pavilion 1 and say hello. Have a great day, everybody, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.